Paul, on to your next question then. I'm due to receive some money from my father's will. This will allow me to pay off my mortgage for my property, a 2-bedroom flat. After my mortgage is paid, I will have an additional amount of money that would be enough to buy a £75,000 1-bedroom flat outright. I even have a potential tenant in mind. I think I would get £400 per calendar month, £450 per calendar month in rental. I was wondering if you would think this is a good idea and if there is anything I need to watch out for. Doesn't say where it is, but guessing
well, the
it's
price
not
kind of does give some sort of indication of where it is. It must be in the north of England because there's not really much to buy around that price in the south of the southeast. Things to consider. So they've said there that they're looking at buying that property outright.
That's correct.
In a way, it's somewhat similar to the previous question, in that I'd usually discourage people against buying buy-to-let property outright, simply because, as I say, it is an underutilisation of the money. You know, you're looking at getting on a net basis, they're probably only, because they said 400 to 450 rents a month for an £80,000 property, so that's about a 5% yield. That's not great for a property of that value.
Right. Okay.
So on a net basis, they're probably not going to be getting that much when they consider things like management, maintenance, whatever. If it's an apartment, they'll have service charges, ground rent. There's a whole lot of things that will go into the costs of that property.
For sure, yeah.
By taking leverage, you can actually boost that yield because borrowings are cheap at the moment, and boost the ability for growth. So I'd consider whether a mortgage is suitable. Again, similar to the previous question, I'd consider whether this property they're looking at is actually a good investment. It seems like this is the first investment they'd be making.
It seems so, yes.
So seek professional advice on that, as to whether it stacks up. Not just what it might rent for on a monthly basis, because quite often, especially with cheaper properties in less desirable areas, often the rents can seem quite high, but also the vacancy periods can be quite high, and the types of tenants can be less attractive than you might want.
Right, okay.
So quite often, I'll see opportunities that people show me that the yields are 15%, but if your property's empty half the year, it
doesn't really matter.
So, or if your tenant doesn't pay, or there's a whole load of things to consider so far as whether something stacks up as an investment or not just what you think it might rent for on a monthly basis.